I saw a video the other day. A woman was sitting in her car talking to the camera and she said, "Oh, he never communicates." I have to guess what he feels. Thousands of other women were in the comments agreeing, saying like, "Oh, men are cold. Men never talk about emotions." Or "he must not love you," etc. And I thought maybe he's not silent because he doesn't care. Maybe he's silent because every time he tried to open up, he got punished for it. Hey guys, it's Isabella and welcome back to Secrets of the Night channel. And today we're talking about something that happens to a lot of men when women say, "You don't communicate." But the truth is, you just learned it's safer not to. And before we start, just a small reminder, on my Patreon, I talk more about relationships, how to build real connection. I make exclusive content about Eastern European women, how to understand their culture better. And maybe if you need one-to-one advice, you're welcome to chat with me. The link is in the description. So let's start with this. When a man stops talking, it's not always because he doesn't care. Sometimes it's because he already tried, but every time he did, it turned into a fight. Like, let's imagine this. You come home after a long day. You're tired, quiet, just want to relax. And she asks, "What's wrong?" You say, "Nothing, just tired." And she gets upset, saying, "Well, you never tell me anything." Now you have to explain or defend yourself when all you wanted was peace. And that's how it starts, actually. Not because you don't want to talk, but because you know talking always brings more problems. And men often stop communicating not because they are cold, but because they are tired of being misunderstood. If you say too little, you're distant. If you say too much, you're emotional. If you disagree, you're toxic. And if you agree too much, you're weak. Well, you can't win here. So at some point, you just stop trying. You smile, you stay calm, but inside, you've already given up on being heard. And a lot of women say they want men to communicate, but what they really mean is, "I want him to agree with me." And that's not communication, that's control. Real communication means both sides can speak and feel safe. And sadly, many men never get that. When they finally open up, they get told, "You're too sensitive," or "You're overreacting." And so next time, they just stay quiet. And then that same woman goes online saying, "My boyfriend never talks to me." But she doesn't realize that she taught him not to. She taught him that being honest only causes trouble. So he learned silence, not because he doesn't love her, but because he loves peace more than drama. There is another example I see all the time. A man says, "I need a little space to think," and she takes it as rejection. She starts texting, asking if he is mad, saying he doesn't care. But for most men, space is not rejection. It's how they calm down. They think quietly. They don't talk just to talk. They talk when they are ready. And that's the difference between men and women. Women feel better when they talk. Men feel better when they think. So when a man goes quiet, it doesn't mean he doesn't care. It just means he's trying not to say something he will regret. That silence is actually a form of respect. And men also express love differently. They might not write long messages or talk about feelings all day, but they show love through actions like fixing things, protecting, helping, showing up. But today's world doesn't value that. Now people say, "Oh, if he doesn't talk about emotions, he's distant." No. He just communicates differently. He shows love through doing, not talking. Let's say you're sitting with your girlfriend trying to explain something that bothers you. You stay calm. You explain logically, but she interrupts, raises her voice, says like, "Oh, you're invalidating my feelings. And now you're the bad guy again. You're not allowed to explain, only to listen." And after that, you will think twice before speaking again, right? And you know, when you go quiet, she will say, "See, you never communicate." But she doesn't realize it's because she doesn't listen. And for many men, silence becomes protection. It's not emotional distance. It's survival. Because when you speak, you get criticized, and when you're silent, at least there is peace. So the problem here is that peace comes with distance, and that's when relationships start falling apart. And the truth is, men are not emotionally unavailable. They are emotionally careful. They open up only when they feel safe. But the moment they are judged or mocked, they close again. And sometimes they don't reopen. So if a woman really wants communication, she has to create safety first. She has to listen, not attack. A real woman doesn't panic when her man is quiet. She understands he's recharging, thinking, processing. She gives him space and trusts him to come back when he's ready. She doesn't guilt trip him or say, "Oh, you never talk." She lets him breathe, and when he feels calm, he naturally starts talking again. Men want peace more than attention. That's why they don't argue. That's why they avoid drama. Not because they don't care, but because they know peace is the only place where love can grow. So when you see women online complaining, "Oh, men don't communicate," what they are really saying is, men don't communicate the way we want. But that doesn't mean men don't feel. They just express it differently. They show it through loyalty, effort, protection, and quiet support. And yes, it's hard for men because they are often blamed no matter what they do. If you talk too little, you're cold. If you talk too much, you're weak. And if you show emotions, you're unstable. And if you don't, you're heartless. Society expects men to be calm, strong, patient, emotional, but not too emotional. Everything, but not at the same time. That's why so many men give up on explaining themselves. They think, what's the point? But here's the thing. Your quietness doesn't mean you're broken. It means that you've learned peace. And you don't need to change how you feel. You just need someone who listens before she judges. And the right woman will understand that your silence isn't rejection. It's how you manage stress. She won't pressure you to talk before you're ready. She will actually notice your effort, your consistency, the way you care even without words. And that's what real emotional connection looks like. But if you're with someone who keeps saying you never communicate while never listening to what you actually say, that's not a communication problem. That's manipulation. Because she doesn't want your truth. She wants control over your truth. Communication should never feel like walking on eggshells. It should feel like peace. Even when you disagree, a good woman listens to understand, not to argue. She can disagree without making you the bad guy. And when you find that, when you find someone who gives you that safe space, you will open up naturally. You won't need to be asked. So if you're a man who's quiet, thoughtful, not expressive in the dramatic way people expect, don't let anyone make you feel wrong for that. You're not emotionally unavailable. You're emotionally intelligent enough to protect your peace. And when you find a woman who respects that, who doesn't see your silence as a problem but as part of who you are, hold on to her. Because she's rare. At the end of the day, communication is not about talking all the time. It's about being able to say what you need, when you need, and being heard without fear. A good relationship doesn't need constant words. It needs constant respect. So maybe men don't communicate the same way women do, but that's not a flaw. That's balance. Men bring peace. Women bring emotion, and together they create harmony if both sides are willing to understand. Thank you for watching, guys. This is Isabella and Secrets of the Night channel. See you in the next video. Fight!